Kala Kadosh, everybody. Boker Tov, Rani, Baruch Hashem, Hashem give him ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות, לאיגר בן נדיה, סלמון בן נדיה, וגם 1000 הבדלות בין המתים לחיים, דוקטור זלנקו, ולדימיר זלנקו, רוח השם תנחנו בגן עדן הוא וכל השוכבים עמו בכלל רחמים והסליחות וכן ירצון ונאמר אמן. We continue with our book, Nafshi Tidom, which means let our soul to be silent. אזהרה לי מבזה. הצדיקים וחכמים סובלים בזיונות עבור כלל ישראל. Says following like this, the tzadikim וחכמים סובלים בזיונות. Says they are really getting disrespected by Jewish people or by other nations. מסביר רבי אהלה כי 3 בחינות בייסורים, 1 לכפר עוונות. Says 3 things happen to the Isurim, to the Tzadikim, in order for forgive for the sins. Mechaper avonot. Ve'echad losiv scharo. The second thing, to add the schar, the reward for the Tzadikim. Ve'echad la'atzalat olam. The third thing, the Tzadikim, the reason they get disrespected and suffering, in order for them to save the world. Ad kan. ביזיונות סובלים צדיקים הם מן הסוג השלישי בדרך כלל. Says the general, when a tzaddik gets disrespected by people, by its own people, by others, nations, he says, בדרך כלל, in general, is because הקדוש ברוך הוא want to be sustain the world. כפי שאמר רבי נחמן מברסלב, מפורש בספר המידות. And actually, Baruch Hashem, thank you very much to Mark Akilov. He donated Sefer HaMidot. I have it in English and Hebrew together. So whoever needs it, they could call me at 917-335-4763. I could give it to him. So it says in Sefer HaMidot, Erech HaTzadik, Aod Kuf Samech in letter 169, Isurim Bayim al Tzadikim hu mechaper al kol Israel. When a tzaddik goes through suffering, the reason he's going through suffering, because in order for him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, all the Am Yisrael needs kapara. Kapara, which means forgiveness for the sin. הסוג החמישי ביזיונו של עסקי בצרכי ציבור באמונה. Rabbi Yosef ben Miriam, he says, ביזיונות comes to the tzibur. Somebody is dealing with the public, which is dealing with congregations. And because he's dealing with with the congregation, Ba'emunah, which means purely and 100%, and people are going to disrespect him. As we know, Gabayim people disrespect, Chazanim people disrespect. Rabbeinu Orchot Tzadikim, Rabbi Yonah, says following like this, Shar, זעק בענייני ביזוי בעוסק בצרכי ציבור באמונה. If somebody really investing in Jewish people with the emunah, with the 100%, he has no negiyah, which means he doesn't get penny from it, and people disrespect him. המכריז מספר לשון הרע על גבאים. People usually speak לשון הרע, speak about גבאים. גבאים, which means they give to people aliyot. שהם כשרים וגובים באמונה מחלקים ליראי שמיים. They give to the aliyot, to the יראי שמיים. מספר לו שנראה עליהם שהם גונבים הצדקה, נושאים פנים ונותנים למי שהם רוצים לקרוביהם. He says, all these people, גבאים, they only give to their own people. They don't give to other people. That's what people say. וזה לשון הרע, אין ערך לעונשו. He says, this is לשון הרע. He has no limit how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to punish him. כי גורם אותם גבאים יסתלקו ויתמו, אחרים רעים במקומם. He says sometimes people, what they do, they have meetings, and they say, we don't need this gabai. They took the gabai, a good gabai, they took it away, and they put in a makom, bad gabai. ונמצא שמינה טוב מן הנותנים צדקה וגוזל עניים, טובים. He says not only that, this Gabayim was used to give tzedakah to the right people, to the poor people. And all of a sudden, there's another gabbai comes in. He does not give to the poor people. He gives to other. He gives the money. So it happened a situation about couple Shabbatot. I remember if it's a couple Shabbatot, this guy came in. He says, you know, I haven't stepped in this Bet Knesset, my foot, since I came to United States of America. 25 years I did not come to this Bet Knesset. He says, you know what's the reasoning? Because one gabbai told me something, and he did not come. And I know that gabbai also. And he told us you should not be dressed like this, you this, whatever he told him. There is no reason the other guy not to step in a Bet Knesset 25 years, his foot. People are going to talk. People are going to say. But from the Bechina of Gabbai, from the Gabbai point of view, can you imagine if this guy did not step his foot for 25 years in that Bet Knesset? Imagine how many other people he did that to. And everybody mechabdim oto. I know people used to respect him. A lot of Gabbaim at Bet Knesset, Bet HaMidrashot, unfortunately, their kids are going to public school, to colleges, which is not allowed halachically. But he's a gabbai. You know what means gabbai? He's basically, he's the figure, spiritual figure for Am Yisrael. So what kind of spiritual figure you have for Am Yisrael? That is gabbai. That is not going, his family. Okay, we understand, listen. If his family already, he became gabbai and his kids already out of his house, he has no control. But we're talking about he had control of the kids when the kids were still young in his house. Once you have in your house, you could able control. Once they come out, okay, we're not judging them. Okay, they became older, somebody became gabbai, the kids were going out, not the derech Torah mitzvot. This is something else. But we're talking about gabbayim from the little age. And they're disrespecting people. Once people have srara, which just means they have a tafkid, they have in control of Jewish people, they don't know how to act. They don't know how to act. You cannot. They're ignorant. People, a lot of people ignorant. Why? Because now they have, is a macho man. Because they're able to say to people, sit here, there. People don't know, miskinim. Sometimes a person comes in, wants to say Kaddish. He comes in 1-2 weeks to the Bet Knesset, and this gabbai is like a lion, attacks him. A person has to be careful. Likarev kol hayudi. We need to bring every Jewish person. That's why gabbai, that's why the rabbi has to be very careful to say to this gabbai, let me handle the problem myself. Do not do it. If you have this type of gabbayim, take it off. You don't need this type of gabbayim. Let the rabbi deal with the people himself. You don't need gabbai. Make sure the rabbi deals with it. If the gabbai is good enough, make sure he's going to treat people well. That's number one. Treating people well is number one thing. Oh, sometimes you call and the gabbai says, get out of here. He's sitting somebody in this type of language. No. Say, please, somebody's sitting here. Okay, come on, my gabbai, please sit in the seat. Somebody's sitting over here. If that's the case. That's what most of the gabbayim do. Somebody is sitting here. Give your own seat. Somebody's sitting, please sit over here. Be nice. So it says, Ra'im al-echlemu al-tovim. Nimtza sheze betel avodat HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mibayesh avdei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'nehem ukrovehem, tachat asher hayu lichvodam. He says, sometimes gabbayim get disrespected. The kids get disrespected. The close ones get disrespected by people because they're gabbayim. Not only that, most of the people that say this is not a gabbai is not good for us. Like these people would not bring yirat shamayim, which means fear of God, of gabbayim. And gabbayim says, why we are in a suspect for in Jewish people? Why people suspect us to take money from the tzedakah or to put in our pockets? כאשר נחשדו פלוני בן פלוני ירא שמיים, עד כאן דברים באש קודש. אורחות צדיקים says a person has to be careful what kind of gabbayim he picks. And a gabbai, if it's yirat shamayim and people talking about him, he's gonna get punished. השכרם של גבאים ושולחי ציבור הרבה מאוד. He says you have a Gabbai and you have Shaliach Tzibur. Shaliach Tzibur, which means the messenger for the Jewish people. He's the messenger. He's like a lawyer in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he says, Charam Arbe. Schar, which means the reward is so great. For example, we take a Mordechai all the time, they tell him Shabbat, this, all the time. All the time. Where are you running? 2 minutes here, 3 minutes here. I understand there's such a law called Torah Tzibur, which means congregation, you need to let the people go. Like prime example, one of the prime examples, we cannot take out Sefer Torah and start rolling in front of the Tzibur. The Chachamim says, Masechet Yoma, Ze lo kavod for Tzibur. Excuse me, we're rolling Sefer Torah. No, you make sure you roll before. Make sure you roll before. Because you're taking people's time. People time is very important for Chachamim. Even some of the prayers, they made it short because people say, we cannot be too long in a Bet Knesset, Bet HaMidrash. I understand some people need to go to work. But also Gabayim has to, and Chazanim need to understand other people. And he says, Gabay v'Chazan, he has a patiently for other people. He says his reward is great, me'od me'od. Very, very big reward. Amru Chazal gadol ha'maaseh yoter min ha'oseh. Chazal says, you could speak as much as you want Torah. But if you don't do it, he says somebody is doing it and learning less is more than that person is learning more and not doing it. Then vice versa. If a person is not learning, how can he do it? He needs to learn in order for him to do it. Baba Batra Davted. In the Talmud it says Baba Batra Davted in page 9. הרמב"ם זיכרונות צדיק קדוש לברכה בספר הלכות מתנות עניים פרק י' הלכה ט' Rambam same thing says, what does he says? הכופה אחרים ליתן צדקה ומעשה אותם שכרה גדול משכר הנותן. He says somebody comes to the person and he says, please, I'm collecting for yeshiva, I'm collecting for people who need it. Please give me the tzedakah. I want to give to people. Prime example, yesterday I received a phone call around 6:30. Please call me as soon as possible. Somebody got stuck in Eretz Israel, in Israel, in an airport with a child, breastfeeding child. Because she didn't do COVID test, she needs to fly from Israel to Moscow. They said, because of that, we're not going to let you in. So they didn't let her in inside the airplane. Now she needs to go, she has, Baruch Hashem, 13 kids. She needs to go back to Moscow. She needs to be in a Shabbat in Moscow with the kids. So what happens? There's no ticket. She's crying hysterically. A mother of 13 years old, 13 kids, she didn't do COVID test. This guy who is not let her in an airplane, give her advice. Aghzari. What means aghzari? Okay, happened mistake. She did not know. Go, send her guidance. He didn't let her in a plane. And there is no plane going to the Moscow. There is no airplane. Now she's looking for ticket. The husband is from there, hysterically, in the stress. The lady with the 13 kids, 10 of the kids in a Moscow, one of them in a baby in a hand. She just gave a birth 3 months ago. The other kids in Israel. They don't have money for a ticket. They don't have, and there's no flight until Friday. And she needs to fly out. She needs to go back to the Moscow. She cannot stay in Eretz Israel. She needs to take care of the kids. What happens? No money. So what do you need to do right now, right away? Send money. It happened. Things happen in life. A person has to be what? Very, very important. Chazal says, if somebody is asking, let's say I come to the people and I say, please give me money for this person. He says, my reward is bigger than somebody's given. Why is that? Why is my reward greater than somebody's given it? שאלתי את המורי הגאון הגדול רבי יוסי יצחק, לרנר, שליטה, מה הטעם של הלכה זה שהמותרים לא הפסיד מאומה, התורמים זה שנותן כספה היקר. He says, somebody is given, he's the one who's given. and somebody is taking, is not losing anything. ענה לו מורי בצחות, זהב, שכרו של המתרים, אכן גדול, כי זה סופק את הביזיונות. Somebody is asking from people money. He's getting disrespected. Getting disrespected is more than giving money. Because right now you're giving, and sometimes people could tell you no. And you say, in my madriga, in my level of who I am, well, I'm going to go ask people for money, and people disrespect you. Verbally, no, I can do it, I can. Why? She could have not thought about it. Why? She should have thought about it. Look at her, this, that. You could shofet at the Adam, you could judge a person on a spot. But if you're going to be yourself in that position, in that point, chas v'shalom, like Pirkei Avot says, you should not judge a person until you're going to be in his own shoe. So Chazal says, if you take in tzedakah or you collecting for somebody money, your reward is greater because what are you doing? You're getting disrespected by people. And because you're getting disrespected by people, that's why your reward is greater than if somebody is giving it. What if somebody is giving and getting disrespected? Let's say Reuben is giving and he's also getting disrespected. Even greater the reward. He's giving and getting disrespected. Because why? Because he's getting embarrassed for the mitzvah. It's like bringing, like we learned before, it's like bringing korban to Hashem. It's like you doing Kiddush Hashem. So when people says, listen, I gave money, he disrespected me, I'm not going to give no more money. No. Tzedakah, don't forget. Mishle says, tzedakah tatzil mimabit. Tzedakah is saving a person from the death. Unfortunately, from the accidental death, from any type of death, tzedakah is what doing to the person? Is helping himself. He's not helping other. He's helping himself. Like the verse says, the pasuk says, tzedakah tatzil mimabit. Maaseh b'shaliach bedin b'shanat hashmita. It was a bedin. In a time of Shemitah, like right now in Eretz Israel, time of Shemitah. So Bedin sent this Shaliach. Yedid Nafshi Rabbi Zalman Groizen Shelita, ששימש את הרב מינדלסון, אב בדין קוממיות, סיפר לי את המעשה הבא. בשנת שמיטה כמה עשרות שנים, in a time of the Shemitah, many years ago, היה שליח בית דין הממונה על קניית תפוח אדמה. They send this rabbi and they say, please go buy for us potatoes. For the Eretz Israel, the whole Eretz Israel needs potatoes. מי מהמקורות ערבים בארץ ישראל וחוץ לארץ. Says go to Arabs, go to outside of Israel, and bring us potatoes. So people are able to feed their families in a time of Shemitah. מחמת שליחות חייו של אותו שליח בסכנה ממש מספר פעמים. He says because they sent him and he went to the places that was dangerous places, he put himself, the shaliach, he put himself, a messenger, he put himself in danger. You come sometimes to the Aravim, you come sometimes to the Kfarim, Kfar which means villages, are dangerous. And he put himself in danger. בסכנה ממש, מספר פעמים, בזכותו לא חסרה תפוח אדמה, על שולחנם של יראת שמיים למשל כל אותה שנה. He says, because people want to keep the Shemitah in Eretz Israel, and by the way, somebody does not keep Shemitah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, one of the things I threw you out of the Eretz Israel because we didn't keep the Shemitah. And this Shaliach, this is messenger goes. And Baruch Hashem, in that year, the potato was full in the Eretz Israel for Yirat Shamayim. It was everything properly. He done. בתום שנת שמיטה, ילדיו של אותו שליח עלו להגיע לפרקם, הוציא בשביעית, השיא השנים שלהם. He says, and it ended the 7 years of the Shemitah. What he did? He had 2 weddings. He made 2 weddings. 2 weddings. לשונות מעליגים הדבר ברוח באמורה. הנה הוא מחתן אל ילדיו על חשבוננו. What the people said? The people said, whatever the wedding he does, all of a sudden he did not do wedding. And at the end of the 7 years, the end of the 7 years, he made money on us, in our account, and he made sure he made 2 weddings in one shot. שגזל את ציבור שנה שלמה. He says what he did, he stole from us the whole year. הכניס רווחים עצומים לכיס שלו והדומה. He put everything in his pocket. הדבר סרק שאין טעם לחזור עליהם. He says they spoke about him, you cannot go back and take your words back. כמובן ביזיונות לשון הרע. Not only that, they got disrespected and לשון הרע about him. הכפוי טובה, they also were not appreciated. צרבו את נפשו של צריך וגרמו צער בלתי יתואר. And they caused him a lot of pain. The guy puts himself in a danger for the people so they could make sure Shemitah, they're eating potatoes. And all of a sudden they start talking about him. כך שפך את ליבו בכתב את רבי מילדלזון, אב בית דין כממיוד. So he says following like this. He went to Beit Din and he basically cried out his heart to the Beit Din. הנה משיב הרב זיכרונן צדיק קדוש לברכה, בשפת אמת פרשת תרומה כתוב. שפת אמת, one of the commentaries, פרשת תרומה it says, כתוב, כי השם יתברך מסייע לאדם לגלות מעשיו, הוא סימן שהוא לשם שמיים באמת, עיין שם. He says, remember, שפת אמת says פרשת תרומה. If somebody really did 100% the mitzvah, and Hashem yitbarach, God would not reveal his good deeds. So from here we know if the God did not reveal his good deeds, the reason is because he did for the sake of Hashem, he did not do for the sake of himself or sake of Jewish people. והרגיל אני לומר איך יכולים לגלות דבר שעשה בשביל הציבור. He says, excuse me, but he did publicly everything. Everybody knows what he did. He went and bought potatoes. He did good for the Jewish people. מוחרד להיות גילוי, לכן אני אומר שלא צריך להיות מעגומת נפש כעושים דבר טוב עבור ציבור. He says when you do something publicly for the Jewish people, you should not have discourage and disrespect by them. משמיעים הציבור בדבר עליו בעניין זה לגנאי, זה בשביל הדבר טוב שעשה לא יתגלה. He says the reason הקדוש ברוך הוא do it, so make sure that when he does something good, he's going to be 100% rewarded. But if a person did something good and people reward him, it says like this, he have ana'ah, which is pleasure, and he's losing part of the mitzvah, the reward of the mitzvah. הזכות זו שלא ראה שיעשה דבר לשם שמיים. אלה זאת העניין, שזוכה לזכות צדיקים ראיית מאכל כשר. כבוד עשה זה בהצניעה. He says, make sure that people, tzaddikim, were eating the potatoes, and he did this, make sure he did letzanua. Nobody should not know. יזכה שישיח, זוכה לראות סימן של הצנוע. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, each person, when he does something good, if I'm not, make sure that he's publicly, whatever he's doing it, and people does not see it, that means everything he does it for the Leshem Shamayim. So from here we learn what's the reward for the tzaddikim, what's the reward for the gabayim, reward for the chazanim. A person, when he's working publicly or with the public, make sure that he's accepting upon himself all the disrespect, all the pain and suffering. Don't forget, it does not mean I'm going to get pain and suffering. The other person also going to get punished because he's mistreating the person that doing something good for the Jewish nation. בעזרת השם, השם should give us ברכה, הצלחה, ששון ושמחה, בריאות, הרבה דסייעתא דשמיא, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.